How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be looking at how my team is going to be lining up for Game Week 7. We're also going to take a look at how we did in that dreaded Game Week 6. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available, as it all helps out and greatly helps out the channel as much as you guys just supporting us in the comments, as well as on Twitch and Twitter, which you can also follow us over there, Pilot Flame 226, on those platforms. We will be doing our deadline stream the day before the games kick off on the Friday, so it's going to be tomorrow if you're watching the video today, being the Wednesday. So it's going to be Thursday, 7 p.m. EDT, so make sure to check us out for that, and make sure, like I said, follow us over on Twitter so that you can see all the notifications and updates that you might see. And if I have a captaincy change or anything like that, it's very important because you'll be able to see my final lineup when I post it over on Twitter. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So this is how the team finished up after Game Week 6. We ended up with 51 total points, which was a lot more than what most people had. However, we did have a -4 as we made 3 transfers in total, which we will discuss in just a second. Our Game Week rank was around, I think, 3.5 million or thereabouts, and our overall rank has dropped down 1 million to just under 2 million, which is, it wasn't the end of the world because we did start the week at 1.8 million, so it wasn't that bad. We actually netted a few points with the transfers that we did make, which was we brought in Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and Lamptey in this week instead of Mitrovic, Bruno Fernandes, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think it was, respectively. So a bit of a risk there, which actually ended up paying off because Kane and Son assisted and scored between each other, which worked out quite nicely, although it didn't help my rank overall as I didn't captain them, as I captained Mohamed Salah. But let's kind of run through the team here. So McCarthy getting 6 points. Very surprising to get a clean sheet as they were playing Everton, who were very lackluster. Digne getting sent off as well helped their cause, and Danny Ings providing 2 fantastic assists in that game, which netted him 10 points overall, which was, again, not as expected overall. The back line was a bit hit or miss, with Lamptey only getting 1 point, looking like he was on for a clean sheet, and an assist as well. Unfortunately, that is not the case because the West Brom defense was so bad that Ivanovic kicked it off Livermore, who then hit it into his own net. So he didn't get the assist for that. And then he got booked, and then they conceded later on. So unfortunately, missed out on some points there. Castagne getting a well-deserved clean sheet versus Arsenal. Leicester playing quite well, soaking up the pressure, bringing on Vardy later on, and doing what he does best, which is score against the top 6. Robertson, bit unlucky to not have a clean sheet here. Sheffield United only really got that penalty opportunity versus Liverpool for the most part. They had some half chances here and there, but again, just a bit unfortunate. So Trent only getting 2 points as well. So, getting rid of him wasn't the end of the world because Lamptey looked like he was on for more points than Trent was. Again, they both could have had clean sheets on another day. The midfield was a bit dry, apart from the fact that Son got us 11 points, which for someone who's over 50% owned, doesn't really matter too much. James Rodriguez only getting 2 points. Salah blanking as well, not getting a clean sheet either. Podence getting his standard 3 points, as he seems to always do nowadays. A bit lackluster in the midfield, which looked to be quite good going into Game Week 6. We also had Dominic Calvert-Lewin getting himself booked, not really getting too many touches on the ball, and overall just looked, kind of flat without Richarlison in there. And then once Digne got sent off, the game was pretty much a write-off there. And Southampton showed that if you kind of, play with high energy and press well, you can take teams by surprise. And I think Ings definitely showed that, who got the second most points in my team with 10, with 2 assists, 2 bonus points, doing quite well for himself. I brought him in over Jimenez, and he's delivered just as much, if not more, than Jimenez has done so far. And he's in a team that can score more than 1 goal from game week to game week, which I definitely like about him. And then Kane getting an assist for the Son goal. He was our vice captain. Wouldn't have got us much more points overall. I would have captained Kane if I had to choose between Salah and Kane, and Salah was, for whatever reason, not a choice. Those two would have been my two options there. Then on the bench, Steer obviously didn't play. Mitchell getting 2 points. He would have been the only upgrade in our entire team, getting 1 extra point over Lamptey or DCL, but I was never going to play him for the most part. Burke as well, getting only just the 1 point. Ferguson getting 0 points as he has not played all season. There is actually an argument that I could have played Mitchell because it was against Fulham, but again, it would have been heart-wrenching to see, Kearney's goal go into the top corner and him losing his clean sheet late on. But again, I think that was probably maybe the one opportunity, but I was just kind of wary that the fact that, Patrick Van Arnhold could have been back into the team, and overall would have probably not been the greatest had he come off the bench for like a 1-pointer. However, Mitchell didn't get subbed. It was actually Nathaniel Klein who did, which is, bodes well for his, future starts when Van Arnhold starts from the beginning. So yeah, that's how the team kind of wound up. Overall, kind of mixed emotions for the game week. We didn't drop down too much, which is kind of okay when you have a bad-ish game week, but definitely a lot more points than some people's scores that I've seen thus far. So let's check out how we're going to be lining up going into game week 7. And this is how our team is going to line up for game week 7. We currently have a squad value of 101.4 million with 0.8 million in the bank. And we have made another transfer. We've taken out Ferguson and brought in the newly starting of 4.1 million, who's now gone up to 4.2 million before he rose last night. I brought him in before that, in Kilman in the Wolves back line. He's looked fantastic since he's come in. Yes, he is a risk potentially with Seiss going back in at left center back and Marcel being back playing in at left wing back. That could be a bit of a problem. However, I think that Nuno mainly rotates his wing backs rather than his center backs, and I think Kilman's just that type of player that's going to be, solid in defense and do quite well. And a lot of fans were saying that Seiss hasn't been looking well, at least, from the Wolves fans. He hasn't been playing well, as it were, out in that left wing spot. And I think that we might see him potentially dropped for a game or two. I think Semedo is quite solid on the right-hand side. But again, Kilman, if he keeps his place, is definitely going to be quite good this game week. Worst case scenario, we still have Mitchell, and then last case we have Lamptey, who is third on our bench because we didn't want to play him versus our Spurs boys this game week. So we have McCarthy back in goal. He's going to stay there. Potentially looking at bringing in Martinez in a couple weeks' time after he plays Southampton, looking at around the game week 9 slot to bring him in. He might be 5 million by then, but I think I'm willing to pay that with his run of fixtures going forward, because he would have played Southampton and Arsenal would be the next 2 games that he does play in game week 8 and game week 9. But we'll look at those fixtures potentially after the fact. He plays Aston Villa this week, so we want our Southampton boys like Ings and McCarthy to do well versus Villa, and then if he plays well against Arsenal, then we'll look to bring him in after that. But in defense, like I said, we have Kilman. We also have Castagne, who got a clean sheet last week versus Arsenal. Versus Leeds, I'm not expecting much, but could potentially be some attacking returns if Vardy is back in the team. Those two have linked up quite well since he has been fit and available. Robertson versus West Ham looks to be a somewhat of a good fixture. If they can get off to the start that Spurs had versus West Ham, they can definitely provide some threat going forward. James Rodriguez, potentially an injury doubt this week, so we'll have to kind of keep our, eyes and ears out for that one. Versus Newcastle, I hope he's not injured. I hope he's fully fit and ready to go, because Newcastle haven't been looking great at all. Same with Calvert-Lewin. I hope he's back, ready and available in terms of like what he was before he decided to just get a yellow card and not many touches in the previous game, because he just looked like a shadow of himself in that game versus Southampton. Then we have Mohamed Salah, who's our captain at the moment. And we'll also bring Kane and Son into this conversation, because I think those 3 are the ones that I'm potentially looking to captain. I have the vice captaincy on Kane at the moment, but I think Son this week could definitely be a much better captain than Kane. And that is because Brighton gives space in behind, which is why we wanted to bring in a defender and put Lamptey on the bench, because we don't want Lamptey getting potentially destroyed by the likes of Kane and Son, and maybe a newly starting Bale in the team as well. So the captaincy is currently on Salah, vice on Kane. I think what I might end up doing is going with Son as the captain and Salah as the vice captain. I'll maybe have a little think about it, wait till, the potential press conferences, because they will be late on the Friday, and I'll post my lineup as final as it could be before the deadline. So make sure to follow us over on Twitter so you can see that. I'll also put it on YouTube as a post as well if I remember to do so. But you should see them both there. Podence as well. Hopefully he starts again versus Crystal Palace. I think that he is someone who's just, the only thing that he's missing is just a goal, really. He's getting shots off inside the box. He's making things happen, making some good passes, making some good runs. He just needs to score, really. And he just basically hasn't done that since he's been on my team. Although he has been getting 3 points rather than 2, which is 1 more than I can expect from a cheaper midfielder. I just hope he doesn't get dropped for the likes of Traore and then they go and blitz Crystal Palace like 3-4 and he's not involved. We spoke about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he's going to be back in form, it's definitely going to be versus Newcastle. We definitely couldn't have expected him to score 6 games in 6. It is a bit of a ridiculous streak that he was on, but I expect him to be back among the goals if James is back in the team. Digne only serving 1 match of a ban, so he'll be back for the Manchester United fixture in game week 8, which is a big boost for them. And Richarlison will still be out serving his 2nd of his 3-game suspension. Ings, we hope he does quite well versus Martinez. If they played anything like they did versus Everton, they should be able to handle Aston Villa in a similar situation as the Leeds did, because Aston Villa with Barkley and McGinn, they don't look very comfortable under the press. And I think that Southampton is a team under Ralph Hasenhüttl is, they're well organized and they press quite well and quite high up the pitch, which could cause problems for Barkley and McGinn in midfield, which could allow Ings and Che Adams to spring on the attack and get goals quickly and early on in the game. And then lastly, we spoke about Kane. Again, if he's going to be more of the distributor of the ball, dropping in deep and letting Son and Bale go forward, then what we might see happen is Kane plays a long ball into Son, Son streaking ahead, the goalkeeper's rushing out, Bale's running alongside him, Son slots it across for an easy tap-in for Bale, and vice versa. That could happen a lot more than just Kane playing the ball over the top, Son slots it in the back, and then there has to shoot. At least they now might have the option with those two running at extreme pace. So his points may be retracted, so eventually you might want Son and Bale if those are the 2 Spurs assets we want attacking-wise. We'll have to wait and see on that one. In terms of our bench as well, we obviously are not playing Steer. Burke is going to be our first one just because he's a midfielder. Mitchell we have ahead of Lamptey in the event that Kilman doesn't play, because that's the next best option, because we don't want Lamptey versus our Spurs players. And I don't think we're going to make a transfer next week, but we'll see how that goes. But Kilman's in early. We got him in before he went up to 4.2, and hopefully he does well with the rest of our team for Game Week 7. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 7 lineup announcement. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. It all helps out and all supports the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. Also, give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch, PilotFlame226. On those platforms, you can join us over for our early-ish deadline stream tomorrow, being the Thursday, the 29th of October. That's going to be at 7 p.m. EDT. We're going to be doing a deadline stream the day before the deadline because the games are on Friday. It will be the same time next week for Game Week 8, and then we'll go back to being 1 hour before the deadlines as per normal. Also, leave a comment down below or check out the poll that we have up on YouTube at the moment for potential times for the preview shows, because I might be moving that a bit later due to some scheduling things that I have at the moment. But I want to know if you guys would prefer it to be a bit later so that more of you can come into the chat and be interactive, because I know 7 p.m. EDT is, late-ish for UK time, but we know we have, people from all different parts of the world, and it may be more beneficial for me to bump the time back a little bit later than normal, or change it to Sunday, and we just miss out on the 1 or 2 Monday fixtures as well. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.